We are back. Stage 2 continues. It's day 2 of our Group Red. And MindFreak, after their recent loss to Evil Geniuses, now find themselves at the bottom of the pool. Plenty of matches still to go, and we know that LG, a dominant force that just won Anaheim, they're probably going to lock up that #1 spot. So everyone is in that race for the #2 position. EG, they just jumped up to #2, but now MindFreak or Fnatic, whoever wins this one, they're going to be battling for that 2nd spot, guys. Let's talk about this matchup. Fnatic, you saw them struggle early on today. What did they do well, though, when they were able to steal a game against LG?
I think overall the slaying has been pretty consistent from Fnatic, something we're not really used to talking about. Their search is pretty much terrible in my opinion though. Going back from early in Infinite Warfare, we were talking about them as one of the most consistent, best strategies in Search and Destroy in specific, but for whatever reason, they just don't seem to be on the same page. Yes, they are getting all the way to round 11s and losing them, which is a bit unfortunate. It happens at times, but I feel like the overall mentality that they have to over-challenge when they have an advantage in Search and Destroy has been their main issue.
Momo, let's talk a little bit about that Search and Destroy. We saw Fnatic and we saw MindFreak go to a round 11. It was a throwback. We thought that Fnatic should have the advantage, and all of a sudden it's MindFreak in their face. They lose that round 11, knowing that we're going to see retaliation S&D. What's your prediction? What's the outcome between these two teams?
I think both teams are actually quite known for their Search and Destroy. Teep kind of touched on it there as well. Is in the past, Fnatic, have been a very, very good Search and Destroy team. MindFreak, pride themselves on their S&D. Going head-to-head, though, the one thing that I would be kind of looking out for is Fnatic being a little bit more faster-paced than MindFreak in particular. I think with the likes of, say, Sunny and Wuskins, they don't have that, almost buzzer on their team. So they'll be looking to hit that bridge very quickly, or either bomb site, really. So I think the one thing MindFreak need to look out for is the pace of Fnatic.
Pace of Fnatic could be an issue in Search and Destroy. Joe, let's highlight the uplink. We're going to see uplink on throwback. Neither of these teams had you or TP smiling.
No.
It's been a lot of this or a lot of just different reactions here on the analyst desk.
Not good ones.
What's going wrong? These are pro teams. These are top 16 in the world. What are the issues in their uplink play?
It just seems when they're attacking, they're not making the right decisions. Both teams just either missing ones or passing the teammates when they don't need to. Just seems like their execution when they get into that enemy base has just been horrible. Their defense really hasn't been too bad. They've intercepted well, but it's just the attack. The best North American teams in the world, when they get in, when they get you in a spawn trap, when they get you in on their side of the map, they dominate, and that's what Luminosity does. EG at times does, but these two teams yesterday, they played a precinct uplink, and it was just not fun to watch. A lot of mistakes.
A lot of mistakes the first time around. This time they'll be playing on throwback. We'll see if they're a little bit more familiar in the rematch battle. This is the last time you'll see Fnatic versus MindFreak in group stages. We should remind everybody this is the start of the 2nd round robin. Every single team will play every other team in the pool, and we have a 3-way tie with 3 teams sitting at 1 and 2 records. The winner of this, they're locking up the 2nd slot, and that will probably be the way we expect it to land at the end of the day, unless EG is able to upset Luminosity. Let's talk, though, about the overall series. You saw the map. Let's get some predictions, guys. We got 60 seconds. TP, starting with you. Are you saying that it's going to be Fnatic jumping up to #2, or are you going with the boys from down under?
I think I'm going to take Fnatic. MindFreak did not look very good in that series we just saw. I think they'd be down and out in this one. I'm taking Fnatic, a 3-1.
I'm gonna agree 3-1. The game 4 is throwback. Retaliation Hardpoint, which we saw what they could do previously. So I think that will be the game they kind of end it on. If for any reason it does go to game 5, though, I will favor Fnatic. Their S&D Crusher is by far their best, by all means. But I think they end it in 4. Fnatic 3-1.
Let's talk about MindFreak Fnatic, because last time it was Fnatic coming off a big win. Then they go and lose the series against MindFreak. Do you think the opposite could happen here today, Joe?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. I'll go. I don't know what to predict. I don't know what to predict between these two teams, so I'm going to go MindFreak. And the reason is if MindFreak wins this series, tomorrow MindFreak and EG will match up again. And I believe if things play out the way we think it is, that'll really determine who gets 2nd seed. So I want that storyline to happen. MindFreak pull through for me.
Joe is trying to climb back up the analyst ranks. Right now, it's TP and Momo tied in that 2nd spot. Joe, he's fallen behind. We'll see who is going to jump up on the analyst desk. For now, though, it's time to find out who's going to win this first game. We got our casters ready. Let's send it over to Courage and Mr. X.
Thank you, gentlemen. Merc, we still love you, even if you are holding the L up there on the analyst desk. But happy to be joined by Matt for this rematch between Fnatic and MindFreak. And I literally had to turn to you and ask because I feel like it went by as such a fast series the last time. Remind everybody at home what happened last time these two.
Yeah, so Fnatic came off of a big win against EG, a lot of momentum. They come in against MindFreak, they get swept. MindFreak dominated the series. I remember it was Fida on that Precinct Uplink. He was just absolutely sick. Yeah, it was Precinct Uplink. He was absolutely nuts. And we'll jump into game number 1. Be MindFreak versus Fnatic. And, you know, Jack, for Fnatic, it's important, obviously, they win this series, but to win it quick as well, because they get 3-0 the first time, need to kind of match that map count in the head-to-head.
Yes, remember, 3 teams at 1 and 2, Fnatic, MindFreak, and EG. It's time to kick off our second round robin, and it begins with one of the matchups between those 1 and 2 teams. MindFreak currently in control of the hard point. You brought up Fida having a big game the last time these two teams matched up. Here he starts off at 3-0.
Just doing a nice job holding this position in the corner. He had Buzzo with the AR up top looking over him. Now it's going to be Shox manning that role. But it's a good start here from MindFreak. 15 seconds uncontested at the beginning. Now it will be Fnatic. They get control of the hard point. Jack, they have control of Barn.
Yep.
The second hard point coming up.
Second hard point about to rotate on over in about 12 seconds. It's funny because we talked about how Fnatic, the last time they faced LG prior to the series we just saw from them, they 3-0'd them. It just seemed like they had their number. They matched up pretty well. Octane even said it in the interview. Then they play him close, at least in the series we saw earlier today, down to the wire in the hard point. Obviously close in that S&D where they drop it in the round 11. Uplink, not the same story, but it's almost now the opposite looking like for MindFreak, where they just stack up quite well against Fnatic. Thankfully for Fnatic fans, they get 4 dead there, and MindFreak will have to come off the respawn.
Yeah, they'll be able to get a good amount of time here on Barn. They have control of this hill. You see everybody from MindFreak spawning at that top side of the map. It's a big 2-piece from Wuskin. Stops the push coming in from MindFreak. It'll be Fnatic taking the lead, and now MindFreak, they're split. You see number 7 at the top, that's Dens. He's going to wait till the push comes from the bottom side of the minimap. They're going to try and collapse on the hard point, but it's not working out.
Wuskin's had a great day so far. Starting off this game at 5-4. They need him to remain consistent if they want to get top 2 in this group. He's a major catalyst for this team. You know what you're going to get out of the rest of these guys, but if Wuskin can pick up the pace alongside Tommy, this team will be a force to be reckoned with. Nearly double 2 pieces there. The scrap time will go to MindFreak, but the most time on that hill definitely went to Fnatic. Solid job of holding off that barn hard point.
Yeah, it's a big hill there for Fnatic. The 2 ones you want to focus on this map is going to be that second hill, the barn one we were just at, and then the baseball field coming up right after the bike path. This is the hill we're currently on. Going to see which team can control that right side of the minimap. Right now you're seeing MindFreak keep spawning on that right-hand side. They want to hold that spawn, but at the same time, Jack, they can't afford to give a ton of time up to Fnatic as they're building a pretty nice lead.
Oh yeah, and Sunny B playing in top food window with an E-Rad.
Yeah.
Not exactly the area you want to find yourself. He's just trying to dance around, be a nuisance to MindFreak, and it looks like he's done just that. Fnatic will push on through. Fantastic play, as now not only will they get the first 30 seconds on this hard point, but they've now flipped the spawns.
Yeah, this has not been a first good hard point for MindFreak. They give up a lot of time on Barn. They're trying to control the spawns here for the baseball hard point. You see Sunny B getting set up inside of it. They lose all of bike path pretty much, and now they're going to have a very difficult task trying to break the hill here on baseball.
Yeah, Wuskin just staying alive, challenging multiple players. Thankfully, Tommy with the 2-piece will get the kills they need on rotation. Will this spawn come in? No, so Wuskin will spawn out towards Sidewalk. That's number 1 on your minimap. He should get back there in time, though, to help hold off this 3-man hit from MindFreak towards blue. Sunny B just playing his life. It's going to be a full 4-man hit now as MindFreak got the close spawn. They're going to begin to charge on in trophy system defense, help keeping Sunny B alive. Fighter, though, with the entry kill. MindFreak still just beginning to push on through, baiting themselves out. 3 dead. There's the kill from Dens. Solid break as they look to secure these next 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's a huge break there from MindFreak. I mean, they don't get these last 30 seconds or so, Jack. I mean, you're looking at a game that's something like 120 to 30 or 40 going into the second half. Be very difficult for MF to come back, but clawing back into this game, they're just a good barn hold away from making this one in their favor.
Oh, absolutely, and they know they can do it as well. Fida just trying to stay alive. He had a quiet start to this map after that 3-0 explosive play in the first hill. They will get the scrap time. The end of the first rotation, 96-78. And this almost reminds me a little bit of what we saw between EG and MindFreak earlier, Matt, in the respawn game modes, where MindFreak just seemed to always be behind by just a little bit. Can ever come over that hump. We'll see if they do it here.
Without a doubt, they would go on a little bit of a streak, but it just wouldn't be enough.
Yep.
See Tommy now controlling this mid-map with the NV4 in his hands. He's going to search for the players on MindFreak, and see MindFreak still not spawning in that favorable position. They need to get across the map. They need to get control of barn.
I feel like we talk so much about Tommy's teammates, you know, these young players trying to make names for themselves, that a lot of times we don't really talk about what Tommy brings to this lineup. We know the veteran leadership. Also, a great game at him so far at 14-10. We'll keep an eye on that as we move forward. Ironically enough, he had one of the lowest KDs, if I'm not mistaken, at Anaheim of all players in the CWL Pro League.
Yeah, he's had a rough last few events. I don't know exactly what his stats were at Sheffield, but going back to Anaheim, did not have his greatest showing. No, at least day one here, did not play very well. It's very important for Fnatic to get a good game out of Tommy because he's their leader. And it's kind of hard for the other guys to follow somebody's lead who's not playing well. So I think it's very important that the younger guys see Tommy stepping up, playing well, big matches.
Fida just snapping right there, now 14-13. He knows where this last player is, but Wuskin in the hardpoint, the guy just can't be stopped with this NV4. The FTL jump, no three-piece there. MindFreak actually get the close spawns too, so this is that barn hill you were talking about, Matt. Their opportunity to take back the lead in this game. They're in control of the hill. Another push now coming from Fnatic.
Yeah, they don't rotate early, but they're able to get a break, and you see the score. MindFreak getting very close to taking the lead here. Players coming from the backside of barn. Fida picks up a big two-piece. You see his name in the kill feed. As Shock's watching the front side. This is going to be MindFreak taking the lead here, Jack.
Matt, you've got to love that MindFreak immediately focused on those back granny spawns. You can see how much it paid off dividends for them as they were forcing every single engagement from Fnatic to have to push through that barn choke, to have to flank around market. They brought themselves back within 10. They're not yet set up, though, for this new hill. Look at how passively they're playing. You still have Buzzo all the way in the back of bowling. Is he calling it a streak or what?
You can't be playing that far back. I mean, at least get up to the bus. I mean, you got to contest a little bit earlier, I think. Now MindFreak, they'll get closer down towards that hard point, but I agree with you. I mean, maybe just securing they have the spawns, but regardless, they're going to let Tommy get through sidewalk, potentially almost break this here. But it'll be MindFreak coming out on top in terms of the trades. They'll get control of bike path. It's really important they hold this mid-map. They control baseball coming up next.
And now, we talk about teams, right? E United is one that comes to mind where if they were being outslayed or being dead even, typically they would still be able to fight and put up a great game in hardpoint. Right now, Slaying is dead even. MindFreak obviously now clawing back into things. Does the Slaying being even favor either of these teams? Do you think one of these squads plays better when they're at a scenario like that?
I mean, you look at both of these teams, right? Sunny B and Buzzo, we've seen them put up some kind of lackluster games in the past. I think both teams are really kind of used to playing without really dominating in the Slaying department.
Yeah,
I think it really doesn't affect either of these teams to get outslayed. They kind of have a play style where they know, hey, we have somebody who, may not put up the best of kills, always kind of in the right position, though, as you see Buzzo playing nicely all the way in the back, was able to pick up 2 kills there. But you got to play a play style that's going to win for the team. I think both these teams have adjusted to their teams.
And you mentioned, Matt, you think, well, what teams aren't used to being outslayed? Well, you think of Optic when they face LG, right? They're typically used to getting all the kills they want, setting up in the positions they want to be. They look like a different team in Hardpoint when they face off against Luminosity. Here, though, not the case. Fnatic still just narrowly in the lead. A lot of this was made possible because of Sunny B's flank, where he got his 12th kill earlier on. Fantastic challenge in, though, from Fida. Again, just like side one, it will be MindFreak getting the scrap time on baseball. As we move to our third set of hills, this time around it's MindFreak in the lead.
Well, and we talk about slaying a lot, right, Jack? And I think you don't have to heavily outslay a team to win. It's just winning those trades, in those key spots, right? I mean, you win the trades over on barn, you win the trades over on baseball, you can pretty much go even to about negative on the other hills, but still a high chance you're going to win that game. So I think it's just dependent on where the kills come through for these teams.
And when you mentioned, winning those trades, yes, it's key to engage and win them as it goes on, but it's really that final trade that's huge, right? Getting that last kill, the trade immediately happening, your teammate that's now dead will not only respawn near you, immediately putting you back to a 2v, probably 1 advantage as the other team tries to retake, but you'll keep in control. You'll be the ones pre-aiming instead of having to charge on in. It makes all the difference, especially, as you mentioned, on barn and baseball. Both teams lead changing back and forth here still as we're about to rotate again to barn. This is a key rotation, Matt. Who will get there first?
Yeah, it's going to be Wuskin going up against Buzzo. Buzzo's all the way in the back.
Wuskin's spotted.
Yep, Buzzo's going to pick up the kill. It's a big kill there for Buzzo. It's another player directly to his left. Just trying to pre-aim here, trying to locate Tommy as he's going to back up all the way. Going to let his teammates get these favorable spawns and push in towards barn.
Yeah, this is where MindFreak now need to win these engagements. They know Tommy's close in market. Scraps, though, now giving his team the advantage in numbers near the hill. Reactive armor used by Fida. It's really for nothing there as he only gets one. MindFreak still with bodies. The far spawns again from Fnatic, and it's because Buzzo stays alive in this entire scenario.
Yeah, Buzzo has done a fantastic job, playing all the way in the back, staying alive. Just like that, he gets taken out with a Scarab, and it's going to be Dens all the way, trying to lock down those spawns for MindFreak, and now you see where the spawns coming in for MF. All the way out on the top side. This will be a break for Fnatic, and a chance to take the lead back.
Wow, what a hard point we've seen so far here in Group Red. The second match is beginning these round robins between MindFreak and Fnatic. These two teams could not be closer in this match as we're about to have another tied game. Moving over to Bike Path, and look at Fnatic, they're already here, man.
Yeah, they're set up for this next hardpoint. MindFreak has not rotated great.
No, not at all.
Sunny B on a 5 streak, 21 and 21. Probably getting close to score streaks, but every time we've seen Fnatic at the hill early, MindFreak just trying to rely on their gun skill to get in and break these hills.
Tommy B. I was about to say Tommy
B.
Tommy has cooled off as Sunny B has begun to heat up. The 5 streak now gone. Do you use the FTL jump to try to kind of cross in towards his opponent's side? Doesn't appear so. They're not expecting density on both corners. Now he'll go ahead and charge forward with some shots, but he's got teammates' help there. Scraps, though, still alive, cleans up 2 weak players.
Yeah, and it looks like there's one player. It's going to be Fida coming through the sidewalk. He's going to be able to pick up 2 pieces from both sides. It'll be MindFreak somehow able to hold on to this hill. And it looks like Fnatic's going to contest this, Jack. And if I'm MindFreak, I just push all the way through.
Yeah.
I take advantage of this aggressive play from Fnatic. I get these kills. I work all the way through to the other side of the map. They're not able to do it, though.
Shox is the last one here. Sunny B will get the 4 seconds, so it will be MindFreak having to push on through. Fnatic will not only have the setup they want, they've got the Centurion down, they've got the lead. You have maybe one solid push from MindFreak. They do have active camo.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait and play around Shox camo. That is a big kill there from Dens.
They've got to go.
They've got to go. Scraps off the map, and here comes the camo play.
Camo surging on through. Reactive armor popped. It's for naught. As now Dens is there as well. 3 players dead on Fnatic. The push does work for MindFreak, but they've got to win these next few engagements. I believe Scraps has used the camo as well. He's been spotted, but he stays alive in the back of the map. An MVP-like play. The Centurion's still hitting. Everyone's back from Fnatic. Shox is the last one here. He's now dead. GG. EU takes map 1.
Centurion was just sitting there.
Yeah.
Shocking over and over again. I was like, is they just going to shoot it, get rid of it? But they're just sitting inside the hardpoint. It's a big camo play there at the end from Scraps. Help puts MindFreak away, gives Fnatic the first map.
Wow, that's a big, big map victory there for Fnatic. And we talked about this too in the last series for this Fnatic team. They're 0-3 so far in S&Ds. All 3 of those losses are in round 11.
Oh. Demoralizing
up to this point. I mean, what do you say to your team if you're Tommy at that point?
I think you just need to keep playing your game. I mean, this is a team that has been very good at search and destroy throughout the year. You're getting to the distance in a lot of these rounds. I mean, a lot of crazy rounds, 1v3s, 3v1s, whatnot, just kind of not going your way. I think you just need to just keep playing your game. Stick to what you know.
Yeah.
You have good S&D play. Just has not worked out in those round 11s.
What's crazy too is if you go back and watch those round 11s, when the matches are done today, the VODs all available on MLG's YouTube channel. You can see they have a payload advantage in almost every one of those round 11s. They had Scraps the camo in the last one. They had the reactive armor from Wuskin. You expect them to win that round.
They've given them away. They've given away those round 11s in search and destroy. And it may end up costing them. I mean, you look at the one against EG, they win that, Luminosity, sorry, they win that first map.
Yeah.
You win that second search and destroy, like, probably goes to, obviously, I think it goes the distance at that moment in time, but man, you gotta close those games out of your Fnatic.
Well, we're talking a lot about Fnatic, but on the other side of the stage, we've got MindFreak, the team with their new 4th Dens. They've learned a lot since Anaheim. We sat down with them and spoke about it.
When we made the roster change, we did it for the long run, not so much the short period.
Yeah, playing with Dens, I guess we played with him for 2 years previously until he left us at the start of this game, but I feel just the more we play, the more confident we get in each other.
Obviously, we didn't have a great MLG Anaheim, but we didn't have a great first event either with Cody. I think our first event was an Australian one, so it was a bit easier, whereas this one was sort of chucked in the deep end.
We weren't all on the same page exactly as the tournament settings.
We're able to improve just through knowing what each other does, so just more time playing with each other. I'm learning how they play certain situations, so we'll be more on the same wavelength and more tempered control.
Besides that, out of game, we just have a we have a guy that, you know, we can chill out with. You know, we don't need to worry about him being immature, lazy, and sort of, you know, treading on eggshells every time we're sort of living outside of playing Call of Duty.
After Anaheim, we came back to Atlanta, where we've been boot camping for the last month. Pretty much just went over the VODs of what went wrong.
You know, we've just been playing a lot of scrims against a North American team.
It is quite frustrating. Obviously, better competition means you're probably going to lose a bit more, but losing's learning for us, so we're able to put that into practice.
You have to go hard every single game, otherwise you're going to get punished for it, whereas if you're not playing 100%, you're just going to get smashed every game.
Living in America compared to Australia is kind of good and bad. Like the bad things are like you kind of, sometimes if you're in a bad mood, you have to see your teammates every day. And it's kind of draining.
I miss Australia a lot. I miss being able to drive my car, you know, go to the gym.
To get anywhere you want to be, you got to catch an Uber. I mean, the currency is a bit more expensive for us, so, you know, everything that we buy, you know, while some products are cheaper, the currency sort of evens out a bit to not be in our favour. You know, it racks up the bills a bit.
That are a handsome bunch, that MindFreak team. A lot of less animal threats here in North America than APAC, which I think is helping them remain cool, calm, and collected on the main stage.
I would agree with you, Jack.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about, you know, alligators and spiders, and
they don't really have to worry about any of that stuff at home either.
I think we had the same discussion last time.
Yeah, we did. It's kind of like a myth. But now look, MindFreak, obviously, I know of not a very good Anaheim. They come in here and they put up a pretty good fight in stage one, right? We were like, oh man, maybe they're one player away. We thought that player definitely was Dens. They bring him in, doesn't work at Anaheim. But these four, they have played together in the past for a very long time, 2 years running. Coming in and now trying to work him back into the lineup has been a little shaky though.
Yep, and I think I want to mention too, Matt, is early in the year, MindFreak at one of those major open events, they had to play through the open bracket, right?
Yes.
And they wind up finishing top 20, 17th through 20th. They now are in pool play at Anaheim, and they still wind up finishing 17th through 20th. Talk to me a little bit for people at home. How much more of an accomplishment is obviously that when coming out of the open bracket, and how much of a disappointment is it then when you want to get in pools and then fail to improve?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in pool play, it's pretty hard to place lower than that.
Yeah.
And you got to like lose all the way out. You got to end up in the loser bracket portion, like deep in the loser bracket, right? When you get like third or fourth. And then obviously at Anaheim, 5 teams in a pool, like you end up all the way at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, and then maybe you win one game in the loser bracket and then you're gone. It's just pretty disappointing as a team. I think MindFreak came in with really high expectations, but I think when they lose Excite, I think what happens is like Excite was the guy that was, like Dens used to put up big numbers on this team, right? They bring in Excite, and then it kind of changes a little bit. Well, Excite now will bait, and you'll have Shocks and Fida, like they'll be able to put up big numbers. At least watching them now, you see like Shocks, not as high, not as positive in the respawns. That's where I think it's really kind of changed this team, where Shocks is now figuring out like he needs to bait where he needs to go to pick up his kills.
Yeah.
And Den's just kind of playing his own game, just kind of how he always played.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we saw from EG in their last series, where Nagafen would be soaring forward. He'd have Havoc right behind him. Look at how comfortable he was able to look, especially in that uplink where it comes to mind. Nagafen putting the points on the board, Havoc trying to clear the way, just getting some quick tech issues figured out there on the main stage for players before we can get into game number 2.
Does it kind of surprise you? I know obviously a lot of roster changes. Sometimes, they go down and rumored or whatnot. That like teams don't like practice or like try out somebody like before they actually make these changes. Like I've always kind of found that weird. It's like, well, let's just pick up this guy. It's like, well, that guy doesn't fit your team at all. It's like, well, let's pick him up. He's great. And then like the roster doesn't work out. Like I'm really shocked that we don't see like some teams just kind of try some players out before they actually commit to somebody.
Yeah, running with pickups basically, right? Like, hey, let's hop on, let's get some scrims going, let's figure things out. I wouldn't even know where to begin to break that down. I'm sure the pro players have more insight on their thoughts there. Would love to hear from the boys in the analyst desk about that after the series, because I've never had to deal with that in my competitive career.
I mean, the one thing it kind of comes down to is like, let's say if we were a team, right?
Yeah.
Maven's our 4th guy, and we were like, oh, well, let's scrim with TP instead of Maven. Then Maven kind of gets upset. He's like, hey, why are you guys scrimming with TP? It's like, oh, we were just trying him out. We think you suck. And then like he gets super butthurt. Then he doesn't want to come back.
Yeah.
So then I think that's where things kind of get murky with that. But I think it would be good for teams to actually try out rosters before they just committed to them for years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would basically be the first person that would be dropped from a roster if I were playing. They would just get tired of me. They would then not tell me, and I'd figure out by a post from Deserto that I was off the team.
Yeah, it'd be like Mike Kenny.
Deserto Mike,
somebody, like a back alley.
Hey, Jack, we want your comments on why you've been dropped from your... What?
Like,
what? I got dropped?
You come out of the bathroom, Mike's just there with a microphone.
Wait,
Jack, tell me why you got dropped.
Can't believe it. Jack, your thoughts? You just got dropped, mate. and then you'd see these two brothers, Scraps and Muskin, going, I'm in Wendy's. That's basically
we've gotten so far away.
It's basically
from this match. I don't know where we are anymore.
Folks, for those of you out there who aren't on-air talent, which is probably every single one of you, this is something we like to call the art of filling.
Yep.
You saw the stage admins there helping the side of MindFreak. They've got all the issues figured out. I'm happy to announce we're well through this ring draft. We're almost into the game. We can refocus back to Call of Duty.
You can imagine how boring and odd it would be if it was just silence from then until the game, and then we started talking.
Oh, yeah. I just gave you some insight.
Yeah. It's one of the hardest things to do. It's kind of weird. It's like, hey, you can talk about anything, but then you kind of get here, and it's like, well, that's a lot harder than I originally had thought.
Oh, absolutely. Most of the things I want to talk about, I'd probably lose my job. Same for Maven, and I'm sure you as well.
No, not really me. I'd probably talk about basketball or something, sports.
Good. Well, we're in retaliation. This is our saving grace. Retaliation. Woo!
Here we go.
Game 2 about to start on Up between Fnatic and MindFreak. If you're just tuning in, Fnatic, they narrowly take game number 1. And Matt, it was that same scenario that MindFreak went up against with EG earlier, where they just couldn't take the win in those final moments of Hardpoint. They lose by about 20. We're ready now for game 2. Sniper play. I think you'd expect it here, but we'll see who winds up bringing it out off the start of this map.
Yeah, I think this is a map where you can see the sniper come into play on the offensive side of the coin. When you go over towards the bridge, I think you can definitely see it be effective there, and you know, even so on the defense. But I think this map, Jack, obviously some changes come in, right? You know, the defense, we can get to this bomb site a little bit faster, and you see the adjustment coming into play as MindFreak gets right down to B so fast, challenging Fnatic. As soon as they come down, kills traded from both teams. Find ourselves in a 2v1 scenario now as Shox picks up Sunny B. Scraps just trying to play his life. This looks like a round that MindFreak should easily win.
So the two themes we've seen so far from these teams in S&D. For the side of Fnatic, it's been round 11 losses. For MindFreak, it's been strong starts early on and then falling apart as the game goes on. It's been the same exact thing in every S&D for these teams. Right now, it would be typical for MindFreak to take a round lead win here with this 2v1 victory.
It's probably a product of just teams kind of getting stagnant, right? I mean, you win a first few rounds and, you know, everything's going great. It's like you just kind of commit to those play styles and positions and you feel like you don't really need to change anything up because it's working, right? The next thing you know, you lose 3 straight rounds, you lose 4 straight rounds, you find yourself down. I think you really don't have anything to fall back on other than what you've already done, and very difficult. But look at the timing.
Scraps didn't spot him on flat. Now he's going to challenge from both. Somehow guns Shox. And now he's got himself a chance. The nade is thrown, and I believe Denz has lost him. Denz has absolutely lost him. 8 seconds left. Will Scraps check there in time? He does. He sees Denz. Denz just has to lay down. He gets away with his life. And look, Scraps just drops his controller. He knows there's no way he's catching him with just 3 seconds left. MindFreak, woo, they narrowly win that round.
And that is one where if he spots them out on plat Scraps a little bit earlier, I think those players line up, and that's like a 2-piece. He's able to kill both of those guys.
100%. I thought they were about to rotate to A, but instead they were entirely playing for a B plant. They were just waiting on plat. Thankfully for MindFreak, Denz is able to get away with his life. Does not get much closer than that in the final seconds of a round.
Now the push from MindFreak will be going over towards the A bomb site. And we've seen this a little bit more, right, since the adjustment came in on the defensive side. I feel like we should see it like a lot more, right? I feel like teams still are so committed to going towards B. Look at this. It's a free plant for MindFreak, and they have so much control of this back area of the map. It's very difficult for Fnatic to get positioning now.
I would love to see the stats, but I would say MindFreak have gotten more plants with 4 people live than any team so far this weekend. Of just getting a site, planting it, and then playing to post-plant positions. TP is typically someone vocal about not being the biggest fan of, you know, playing for this cathedral side plant. But MindFreak so far, it's working out for him here. Wuska though in the 1v2, now a 1v1, he's still got a chance.
But these rounds shouldn't be this close, as I believe Buzzo has actually spotted him, so he knows where Wuskin is. Just gonna play this smart, wait the clock out. Buzzo will just come out, check bomb. Wuskin picks up the kill. But the round will go to MindFreak as they go up 2-0. And in the Luminosity MindFreak match, in the Search and Destroy, right? MindFreak was able to get a lot of plants down, but then their post-plant positioning was so bad that Luminosity's retakes, they would just storm right through them. You're seeing better post-plant positioning here from MindFreak today.
I think there's also some differences there, too, where Luminosity are one of the best teams in the world with straight-on gunplay as well as retakes in general of sites in Search and Destroy.
Slightly different than Fnatic.
Don't think you can say the same about Fnatic. Thankfully, though, they've got a sniper. He had some open targets, not able to connect with the first as the recoil gets to him there.
You see a lot of action here. Going over towards Spida as he's playing outside of that garage door. It'll be MindFreak with another first blood. Fnatic, they just keep committing down to the B bomb site, Jack, and I feel like A is such a more viable option now, and you see Shocks coming in, tagging a lot of players, action from both sides. It was Fida coming in from the other side of Garage, able to pick up 2. And now Wuskin, the only one alive, and they're still not in a great position. I feel like if you're Fnatic, like, you got to put some action over towards A. You got to at least make MindFreak put one player over there. Like, just at least respect the fact that you could go over to A.
One thing from Fnatic right now is they just had Wuskin all the way at back bridge watching their flank. He was picking up lower street, watching their flank, going back and forth. The second he went to watch their flank in hotel, 2 players from Fnatic, or sorry, 2 players from MindFreak wound up pinching into Bike Shop. His teammates get shot in the back because of it. That's what put it into this 1v2 scenario. And MindFreak, they're just staying together. They're doing what they have to do. They should have a quick little cleanup here on Plat.
They know exactly where Wuskin is now. He's trying to locate one, not able to do it. It'll be another 3-0 start in favor of MindFreak and S&D.
And here comes 6 straight rounds for Fnatic if history will repeat itself. Here's a look again. 2 ERADs versus an NV4 on Plat. I think that's quite the advantage you can have right there, Matt.
Or we see 5 straight rounds for Fnatic. Then we see MindFreak win 3 straight rounds.
Wow.
Take map number 2. That would be brutal.
I would love either to happen.
That would be brutal for Fnatic.
I would love either to happen. Still a sniper in the hands of 1 player on MindFreak. I believe that was Denz. No. Okay, so he'll put that away for now. Again, they're going to go towards a site that's worked for them so far when they played Retaliation S&D, which is A.
And they know that nobody from Fnatic is watching this. If you're MindFreak, just push straight through again and get bombed down. But the thing is that they planted it so easy last time. They probably think like, well,
it can't be this easy.
Yeah, it can't be this easy again. Like, Fnatic is gonna put somebody here, right? I mean, we just went towards this site and won the round. And Buzzo, he's getting tagged up from all directions. Fida's able to trade it out, but now Fnatic has the man advantage. Oh, for a second there, I thought Shocks and Den were just gonna run right into each other on the wall run. Now they're gonna go back, play for this Cathedral side. But I think the players on Fnatic have actually seen the members of MindFreak, and you can actually see through X-ray. 1 player on bomb. This is going to be a round win for
Smart play. They saw both players run. With the number advantage there, go ahead. Hop that objective. Go for the defuse. Fnatic win the round, Matt. Here we go. Here we go. Wow. As it looks like it'll play out this way. This is the final kill from Scraps with that ERAD inside curve. Nice job by him. You like what you see right there.
Yeah.
From the boys of Fnatic.
Well, I didn't really love the push there from MindFreak. Like, I would have loved to see all 4 kind of stack up on the bridge like they did last time and kind of go on through. Like, they had Buzzo just way out watching the flank, and he was alone. And then it kind of forces Fida to help him. And then when Fida dies, I mean, it's just a situation that's not favorable for MindFreak.
Oh, gosh. Wuskin's going to late check this bridge area. At least gets 1, which is best case scenario right there with the amount of players that were flying at him. Tommy, looks like he slipped through the cracks. As he's all the way in Cathedral, unfortunately he doesn't check market, and Denz will punish Fnatic because of it.
So the only thing I can think of is that maybe the call out from Wuskin is that they were all coming on that flank.
Yeah.
Tommy didn't think there was anybody over here in the market, but it's a big kill, forcing this into a 2v2. Now it looks like Fnatic was not sure where the players on MF are coming from, but one's going to jump over the wall. It's a big kill there from Buzzo on to Tommy. Now it's Scraps just trying to run, stay alive here.
They spotted him.
Yeah.
They know where he is. 13 seconds left. Scraps still flying around. This is down to the wire where if he winds up checking his bomb in time, gets the kill. What a play from Scraps. Not going to have the second, but he's done his job. Another round win there for Fnatic, and it was because of how much time was burned.
Yeah, he did an excellent job, and I love the route that he took, right? He got into Garage. A lot of other players would have just peeked out of Garage and checked the bomb, but goes out the other side of the Bike shot, jumps up top onto the scaffolding here.
Well, look where it's planted, right?
Yeah.
If he winds up peeking from Bike, I don't think he sees that player, or at least enough to hit those shots.
It would be very difficult. He'd have to go like all the way to that left-hand side.
Yep.
Kind of just look through, but very hard.
2 rounds now in a row for Fnatic. It's at this point, it's just funny. We're 4 S&Ds in for these teams, and they have all played the exact same way.
It would be funny if it played out the way I was talking about.
Yeah. Shocks is trying to stay alive as nades come flying on in. Now with those cars blown up, he should have the green light to be able to push forward. As it looks like, yep, that's exactly what they'll do, as Fight is now taking position behind that van.
So here's where, if you come into the round for MindFreak, you have to just maybe like talk about it, think a little bit, because look, you've gone to A once, had great success. You go to A, you get the bomb down again. Fnatic now has been like, okay, we need to adjust. Some nice shots there out of Buzzo, kill Sunny B, but it's like, okay, we need to adjust. They know we're putting heavy emphasis over on A. You got to kind of predict like they're going to put a little bit more defense there.
Yep.
This is a round that they probably should have went B, but they get the man advantage and they get the bomb down. They're in a very good spot here to win another round.
And this is the side that TP at least likes to see teams plant for and defend from. Look at this bridge they now have to cross to try to go for this defuse. You've got Dens in great cover. Wuskin, yeah, you might be near this bomb, but you've got 4 players from MindFreak pre-aiming, ready for this push. Look at the clock. We're already down to 18 seconds left. And everyone alive still for MindFreak. Now just 2 remaining, though. What?
Oh, no. And I believe...
Oh! I just heard them yell very bad words.
Yeah, they were very excited.
They're very bad boys. Oh, my goodness.
You can't lose that round if you're MindFreak.
You should win that 30 out of 10 times.
Wait, what?
They should win that 30. They literally should never lose that.
Oh, okay. I was like, for a second there, you and Clint with math, I was like...
I just needed to emphasize like how perfect it was. There was 18 seconds on the clock. The bomb was planted for all 4 players. They had a 1-man advantage.
And they're like stuck in the middle of the bridge.
And they had 3 NV4s. There was no flank. There was nothing. They were all in cover. And they just get ripped off areas where only their head can be seen.
3 up for MindFreak, then 3 down in terms of rounds as it'll be Fnatic attacking over here towards A. The defensive push for MindFreak has just been consistent. It's been everybody down towards B. 1 guy goes to plat. That's what they've done every round on the defensive side. Now let's see how they adjust, because now the bomb's down at A. Let's see how they rotate out.
Tommy's going to have 2 in front. Does at least get 1 again. That's been a continued trade off the break of a lot of these rounds. It's Scraps, though, who gives Fnatic another number advantage. That's 4 rounds in a row. Buzzo trades it back out. There's Scraps, though, to continue to help his teammates. It's the brother duo up against Fida.
Fida's going to be behind 1. Going to get a little closer with the E-Rad, then finish him off. Oh, turns at the worst time. Able to stay alive, but only 8 seconds left, Jack. This is going to be a round win for Fnatic.
And Wuskin, he's got his payload. FTL jump, definitely not going to use it here. But if he gets a kill, would be very, very close to this overdrive. Unfortunately, not going to happen there as Fnatic now win 4 rounds in a row.
Getting closer. I'm saying 5 rounds in a row for Fnatic, then 3 straight for MindFreak.
And mine's still possible, too, of 6 rounds in a row.
Yeah, it's true.
It's for Fnatic. Yeah.
All right, so let's see what MindFreak does. Okay, now we'd love to see a B hit here.
Yeah, no, it's just going to happen.
Yep.
They pre-fire bedroom. They know no one's up there.
They just need to push through and get bombed down. They're taking too much time.
And in this window, Fnatic are going to be able to get to a point where they can wind up pinching these players down near the site.
And I feel like when you go down towards B, right, Jack? I mean, you're either going to see the contestant come out in the top plat here, you know, from the hotel
Fnatic's
window,
gotta go, man.
or down on the bomb. I mean, if you're MindFreak, you just got to go.
He's stuck. He's stuck in those stairs. I don't think they'll get the kill. No, okay, so that was Buzzo, who was able to get out with his life. Shox gets caught sprinting, 4 versus 2. They know the last 2 players are market. Fnatic are about to converge at this point. They should win this round. Unless these brothers in the stairs get killed off. Nope, Sunny B with the 2-piece. 5 rounds in a row now for Fnatic. Matt, whose prediction will be right? My 6 rounds in a row, or your 5 rounds for Fnatic, and then a round 11 loss in the end?
I think yours is more likely. I mean, they're from MindFreak. What I was trying to explain is that when you go down towards the B site, you know, a lot of the defensive enemies you're going to see are either going to be in that hotel window, they're going to come out and challenge you plat, or they're going to be like waiting on the bomb site with how fast you can get to the bomb site now. Even then, if they're not on the bomb site, maybe they're playing in that back market.
Oh,
you're MindFreak and you get there, you can't just stall, you need to go.
It's got all the side. If MindFreak win this round, look, they wind up earning multiple payloads. Tommy and crew, though they have camo, first blood for MindFreak. Tommy pre-fires Buzzo, he's read like a book, and there's more there. They still have 2 players here. Active camo for Scraps. He's gonna pop it, he's gonna challenge his player. He's lost him, he's absolutely lost him. Oh, it's a disaster.
But Shox obviously didn't see him come through.
And now if Shox gets this kill, he earns the camo. The players have lost each other. What are these search and destroy games?
Oh, this would be a huge round win, obviously. The camo is burned by Scraps. Shox is in a perfect position. Scraps actually walks right by him, but because of the camo, obviously he doesn't see him. Now both players have definitely lost each other. Scraps definitely has no idea the bomb is down.
Oh my
goodness. Just patiently playing this corner.
35 seconds left. Neither player wants to make the first move, but unfortunately for MindFreak, they've obviously... Oh no. Will Scrap spot it in time? Shox will see him! Oh my god. There goes my prediction. All it came down to was a burned camo.
It's happening.
Dude, I'm done. If Fnatic loses, I'm done. Puckett, get someone over here to cast for me. I'm done.
All right, so now MindFreak has camo, right?
Where's Mo? Did Momo already leave? Momo's.
Yeah.
I think Momo's scared to watch the rest of this game.
Momo can't watch this.
You probably got Brycey at home with his diet soda that he loves.
All right, so we're going to see Overdrive come out from Fida. Okay, this is great for MF. Just get bombed down right away.
Yes.
Don't need to invest camo into this.
Go.
Hold on to it. You just need to go.
And it's
fly through.
They know they don't have to worry about a camo retake, which should give them all the confidence in the world to make this call.
Right, well, Tommy sees them push all the way through, so now Tommy can't really get out of this back market area. They have the Scarab leading the way. They're going to bring that back towards the backside, trying to get Fida, because he was a little weak, but... Oh, that's a... Oh, 2 big gunfight wins.
Wow!
Tommy just destroys Dens from range. That is some nice shots there from Tommy.
And Fnatic will finally win a search and destroy. It goes all the way to round 10, but they wind up getting it done. That right there perfectly sums up what MindFreak S&D has been so far this weekend.
Yep, they get the advantage early, and then they just give it away late. Fnatic wins that final round, takes map number 2.
And now we've got ourselves a 2-0 map count lead for Fnatic. MindFreak on the verge of what, of an 0-2 day?
Yes, and this will be a huge game 3 if Fnatic is able to win it, because remember, you know, in the first time these teams met up, it was MindFreak winning it 3-0. So if Fnatic can return the favor, they get even in the series and even in the map count, which could be huge later.
My goodness, of course, it's all playing out just like this. 2 maps down, Uplink up next. But before we can get to that, we've got to go to a quick break. When we come back, Fnatic versus MindFreak. Do not go anywhere. We're heading into game 3, which means it's time for another G Fuel key player matchup. This time, it's between two of the best slayers on their respective teams. On the left side of your screen, it's Fnatic's Wuskin, the man who really started his competitive career just 8 months ago, now fighting on the biggest stage of his career, looking to not only improve here in Stage 2, but make a great run at the CWL Championships later this year. On the other side, it's the man with the nose ring, the scary man from down under, Fida, who flies all over the map for his team and continues to put up big numbers in the KD department. He currently leads overall with a 1.08 KD in the Uplink matchup between him and Wuskin. But when it comes down to points, Wuskin so far this weekend has scored a little bit more. Now, this is a small sample size. Which team will show up bigger? Right now, it's MindFreak down 2-0 again. They've got to keep themselves in this game if they want to be able to come back this weekend, as they're on the verge of an 0-2 day, dropping to 1-3 overall. On the other side, though, Wuskin and Fnatic have been on point in this series up to this point. They finally won an S&D, and they've got all the momentum in the world. It's looking easy for them right now on the main stage. This has been your G Fuel key player matchup.
I think coming third at Sheffield was, if we've got anything below that, it would have been embarrassing, but Red Reserve and Epsilon, I'd say that they compete with Spice anyway, and they're just as good as Spice, so beating them is always a tough task, and I think they're just as good as Spice.
I'd say we would look at it as neither positive or negative. That event for us was just practice for distant champs. I mean, we would like to have won it, like we gave Epsilon a really good game, but unfortunately we came third, but we don't really look at it as either really, it's just practice for us. I'd say the only pressure is that our pool this time round is a bit easier on paper than Stage 1, but obviously we're more confident now that we can definitely make playoffs this time round.
Last weekend, Splice didn't attend, we finished third at that event, but when Splice did attend Ice Series, we got third as well, so there's a bit of consistency there. But EGL was more, we come off a rough MLG Anaheim, and we wanted to go back to EGL and really get things together in preparation for this week coming up. So, I mean, it's a positive, and also it's a negative. We would have loved to go further. We had some close games against Epsilon. Red Reserve was more in their favour, but yeah, I think we're taking it as a positive. I wouldn't say any of us are feeling the pressure that we're the only EU team and we need to make playoffs. I think every team, regardless of wherever they're from, everyone's aim is to make the playoffs and push on from there. So there's no real, we're not feeling any added pressure regardless of what people are expecting from us. It's more of we're seen as underdogs, let's see what we can do.
Coming third, I don't know. It's where we, that's like when we look at it as we're like the 4th best team in Europe, so as long as we're coming top 4, it's one of them. Anything after top 4 is really like a bonus at that point. I don't know, it's more of, what annoys me is the way people talk about us. Mainly like people, I don't know, people who write articles and just always doubting you. That's the only main problem I have. Because not many EU teams will make, well, obviously you want them to make playoffs, but it seems like you max like 3-4 teams will go playoffs, and being one of them would just be like perfect.
Let me get a quick translation for you there on what Wuskin, I think, was trying to say. Basically, they got third at Sheffield. They think of themselves as the 4th best team in Europe. With Splice not being there, them finishing third makes a lot of mathematical sense if my addition and subtraction adds up. He then went on to say that people that write articles like to bring up the fact that, you know what, at times they could struggle, but at other times they look great.
Mike from Deserto.
Mike from Deserto again. Second time we've plugged you here, Mike. I expect a check in the mail. And then they kind of look forward, and I lost them from then on out. I actually need to phone.
They want to qualify for playoffs.
Oh,
I heard qualify for playoffs a lot.
There we go.
So that's what they want to do. And I think, look, Europe has been, some really good teams coming out of Europe this year.
Yep.
Last year, it was really like Millennium, the only one I felt, and obviously Splice towards the end of the year. That could contend, with North American teams. Fabi kind of came on late, but this year, I mean, we've seen Splice, Epsilon, Fnatic. I think Red Reserve is a very strong team. We'll see later, in one of our weeks coming up in the Global Pro League. I think there's 4 really strong teams in Europe right now.
And it's funny you mentioned a lot about European Call of Duty right now going on across the pond. We do have that European last chance qualifier. Already qualified from there, I believe 6 teams make it on out of that. Could be completely wrong, but we'll get confirmation somewhere. Marky B and crew on Millennium, they've qualified. They were the first team to make it on through, so they bounced back after some rough performances and now have secured their spot at the CWL Championships in August.
Yeah, and they make a roster change. They pick up Quicker. I know he was formerly on, Team 3G. Earlier in the year, they pick him up, and now looking to kind of bring this new roster into COD Champs at the end of the year. But we'll get back into this series. It's a throwback uplink. Fnatic versus MindFreak. 2 quick kills from Scraps at the beginning, 1 from Sunny B.
This is a 1.
This will be points.
That's a 1 from Scraps. There we go. Quick points, 23 seconds is all that's needed from Fnatic, and it's because of the pressure they put on in middle map. Scraps still though, oh, that is rough. He's in the base, at least does get 1. Buys his team time to get back at middle map. Look at his teammates coming off spawn. They've now had the chance to push in the middle because MindFreak were fighting from their spawn.
Fnatic, it's just these big matches they play well. It's just early in the tournaments, and against teams they feel like they should be able to beat with ease. That's where they kind of really let up. I mean, the other day against MindFreak, right, they get 3-0'd. They come in here, they realize how important this game is. They put a lot of emphasis on it, and you see how well they can play as a team. Oh. It's just getting it right consistently. Like, they need... Oh.
That's a grenade to the face onto Tommy.
They just need to get it right more of the time, Jack.
Yeah.
They need to beat these teams. Not really saying MindFreak, but beat teams that they're favored against frequently.
Well, I mean, just look. Scraps had to wind up deleting some tweets last night after he got extremely emotional after their loss to this team, where he said, we should be beating a squad like MindFreak. He says that they are just the better team. Finally, they're showing it here. Obviously, they still have to close this series out. They're up 2-0. They've got a 1-point lead, but this is, if you're going to say that basically last night, Matt, they've got to back it up, right? And they're doing it right now.
And you should, if you're a team like Fnatic, you should be thinking that. You should be going into these series and being like, hey, we are the favorites. We did a lot of work yesterday, to put ourselves in a great spot, and then threw it all away. The match against MindFreak, it's like those are things you cannot let happen. And it's good to see kind of Scraps taking ownership of that, acknowledging like, hey, we should be beating these teams frequently. We shouldn't let these series get close. And now coming out today and doing something about it.
And I think you also mentioned that too, Matt. It's extremely important, and I'm sure you can kind of give your thoughts on this as well, with how you guys had to think about things back on the cold days. It's probably a little bit different because of how dominant you were, but even when you are the favored team or you think you're the stronger team, I mean, you still have to show your opponents respect, right? You can't just think you're going to walk right through them if you're Fnatic.
Yeah, no, you need to.
Maybe with the old cold guys, you could have.
Yeah, no, I think the old mindset, with Cole was that like anything less than first place is just unacceptable. I mean, you don't travel across the country and all over the world to go and get 3rd or 4th and be happy.
Yeah.
That's just kind of counterproductive, right? I mean, you put in a lot of time, you go to win, and there's no other option than that. And I think that was just kind of the mindset everybody ran with.
I like that mindset. I like that mindset a lot. I don't do a lot of winning, but...
Okay, well, you can change that.
I can, and it's going to start right now as I'm joining Fnatic. I'd like to announce that I'm actually hopping on stage.
I'm taking the hard road like Kevin Durant. I'm joining Fnatic in the second half, up 2-0 with a minute to go.
As I take full credit and then retire after my perfect 1-0 series record. But
thank you, guys. Thank you.
Fnatic, they're looking solid right now at Uplink as MindFreak, they're trying to put more focus towards bike path, specifically Fight. It was there for a while, but it just seems like they can't get, a quick 2-piece to really give them a great foothold on the map right now, Matt.
No, they can't get any advantage towards the middle of the map. It's really been dominated by the side of Fnatic. Thus far, you see Dens, though, he's trying to get in position. They need somebody in this top window to really open it up. You see, he's going to go right by Sunny B. Sunny B, fortunate for Dens, misses every single shot in his clip. That was bad.
Yeah.
So remember when you said you want to join Fnatic? Maybe possible now.
After watching
it might be possible.
I'm not kidding. we weren't sure for Hot Mic, which we air that every Thursday. Be sure to tune in during the league. We talk to pro players. Nice little talk show with Maven, who looks like a giant in his seat on broadcast. It's just a good time to really talk to players out of the game. And we thought about doing a segment with, the Fnatic guys where I would have my jersey. I was actually sent a jersey from Fnatic with my name on it.
Oh, yeah?
So I technically could go grab my jersey right now, sit on stage, and fit right in with the team.
I don't think you would be very good.
Neither would I. I would actually be abysmal. But
yeah, I think you'd actually help them lose this lead they have now.
Hey, you know what? Fnatic have done it a few times so far this weekend. We'll go ahead and refocus back to their 4-0 lead, though. They're in a pretty good spot. This is the best chance MindFreak have had, though, of pushing forward with this drone so far. As I say that, though, it Scraps in barn with the 2-piece that stops the drone in its path.
I mean, you had a 3 streak for, I believe it was Shocks. You had a 3 streak for Fida. and they don't get anything for it. It's just at that time of the game, right? You're looking at the minimap, like where these kills are coming up. They're coming up in the mid-map, right? They're coming up like, hey, that's a good sign, right? When you're picking up the kills in that area. It's just the objectives lagging a little bit behind, you know, not the quickness to get the drone, you know, some kills going down the middle of the map, preventing him from getting it quick, which is not resulting in offensive plays for MindFreak.
This is reminding me a little bit of the FaZe Fnatic series from stage 1.
Yes.
Where they played on day 1 and Fnatic beat them. I believe it was like 7-0 or something like that on this map. FaZe just couldn't get close to the portal. This has been a map that Fnatic have looked very good at in the past, and they're showing it right here. That second wave of kills has yet to be earned so far for MindFreak on this map. 3 players negative. Being outslayed is big. Fnatic 5 minutes away now from sweeping Apex Best.
Weskin's gonna grab one towards the mid. Some more kills coming in for Fnatic. And now Fnatic will get control of the middle of the map, pushing it down towards Lemon.
Does Tommy just drop the drone here? Does he throw it down outside Granny's and go for kills?
I think you kind of have to. I mean, the position you're in, so you're relying on Sunny B making a play at the top side of the map on the flank. That doesn't come through. But luckily for him, the brothers get 3 kills. This will be a 1-point play as Tommy connects.
5-0. That now makes it a 3-possession game. So we're 6 minutes into this map, folks. MindFreak have yet to score, and now they not only need a couple dunks, they need 3 full possessions. That's not only map control, but that's rallying the drone through, keeping map positioning, getting kills where you need them. All things that they've yet to do so far in the first, you know, quarter of side 2, as well as the entire first half.
Well, it's hard. You kind of end up almost like when me and Maeve were talking about it yesterday, almost like a treadmill, right? Where now MindFreak, you're just forced to keep rotating into the back of your base. You have to clear it out over and over and over again, and you can't get back towards the middle of the map. And you're kind of stuck in this space where you have to go back to clear your base because you can't let up more points. But then, if you don't pick up the kills, you're going to give up points. If you get the kills, then you have to go back towards the middle of the map, fight again. Then if you get the drone, you have to go fight them again, and you're just not able to do it.
Beautiful kill from Weskin to at least slow down this drone for a second. Thankfully for MindFreak, they are still pushing forward. They're going to try to force a dunk through. It will work out, so there's one of those scores that they've been waiting so patiently for, Matt. And a lot of it was because, honestly, Fnatic still had 2 players in the MindFreak base. They just grabbed the drone and run right past them.
Yeah, and Buzzo was on a 5 streak there. He opened that play up for MindFreak, leading the way, picking up some kills. 4 shocks to get that 2-point play in, but after that, no rally coming in from MF. You see now they're all the way in the back of their base. They're just letting Fnatic get just so much more map control, Jack, that now Scraps picks up 2, has his teammate coming through the middle. Just settle for a 1-point throw here.
Oh!
Barely clips the top of the portal and goes in.
Gets lucky with that one. Does not get much closer to being a miss than that. As Weskin, that 2-piece right there. As MindFreak are surging forward, they have 4 players up. They want to take control of mid. Instead, now it's down to a 2v4 in these next couple engagements.
Yeah, and then what happens is, look, you see Fight in the middle of the map. He drops, Shocks now up in the top window. He's going to fall, and now things turn into a 3v2 in the middle of the map in favor of Fnatic, and now it forces Dens. He's not able to push out. You know, Wuskins picks up another 2 kills. It's just you spawn so staggered, and you're never able to get one really good team fight in the middle of the map. It's very difficult to come back
Camo
from.
time, right here. Strap's going to fly through. Shots hitting. He's going all the way towards the back. 8-2 now the score. That could be all the difference, folks, as we're down to just 2 minutes remaining on this map 3.
Yeah, beautiful play there with Camo. You know, he gets tagged up a little bit. Some players we've seen, they panic, you know, maybe try and melee a player or, you know, just get a little bit closer to him. Just takes a different route there, gets lost with the Camo, puts in a 2-point play, which could put this game away.
Scraps trying to hold MindFreak. They're just going for whatever they can get now. It's time for a field push, they say. They've got 3 players still alive. Drone just holding forward, going for a dunk. Not going to happen quite yet. One last player here. Can Shocks convert the score? Not going to happen. And I think that map will do it for this game, unless Shocks can earn the Camo here and make a miraculous play.
It's so difficult for MF, Jack, because, you know, once they get on the offensive end, they look quite good. Just really 1 or 2 kills that just don't go their way, which results in defensive stands from Fnatic.
Again, the drone trying to be pushed forward. Look at the right side of your scoreboard. 4 skulls next to the frames of the MindFreak players. Fnatic will just dance around with the objective. I think this one's done and dusted. This was a big 3-0, Matt, because you talked about how MindFreak 3-0 swept Fnatic yesterday. Now, Fnatic return the favor. They'll be the ones to jump to 2-2 as MindFreak will now be 1-3, a disappointing 0-2 day. And, wow, they still have to face LG tomorrow, right?
Yes,
Wow.
believe so. I believe tomorrow they would play what?
Or no. Or yeah. No,
They have to play LG tomorrow, and they have to play EG. So they have a pretty tough day.
They needed a 2-0.
This was the day they needed a 2-0 day.
Yeah.
This was the day they needed to really put themselves in a great position to qualify for playoffs. Looks like Tommy just trying to body block in the goal there. Shock's able to get in for a 2-point play towards the end.
Oh my God, Tommy.
Tommy with the ERAD has gone off towards the end of this game. It's a big, big 3-0 win for Fnatic, Jack.
Another example of a series that you have to remember as this weekend goes on, where the story could be told of this MindFreak team. The winnable series just not going their way. Great performance at the end from Tommy, but it was the brother duo of Scraps and Wuskin that really ran up that score early on in side 2.
Yeah, some great plays from Scraps all series long. You've really seen him and Wuskin turn it up in the respawn game modes. You've seen a lot of times in the feed, 2 pieces here and there, in the middle of the map. Gives them such an advantage, Fnatic, going forward, because Tommy, he's putting himself in good positions, right? Never out of position on the map. Sunny B, doing a lot of the jobs in the map, like trying to sacrifice himself, baiting a little bit. So Fnatic starting to click in the respawn game modes. It's a very good sign for this team.
We could be having a very different conversation about potentially a first place battle for Fnatic if they wind up winning that round 11 S&D against LG, or just the other round 11s that they had earlier this weekend. Instead, though, they will be now 2-2 in this group. We'll head down to the floor with an interview with one of their players.
All right, thank you. I'm here with Tommy of Fnatic. All right, first off, I just want you to kind of break down for me. You got 3-0 by them yesterday. You come in, now you completely flip the script. You 3-0. What, I guess, changed from day 1 to day 2 for you?
We beat them at Ammanheim 3-0, and we had 2 of the same 3 maps. So when we were playing yesterday, we sort of let it get in our heads when we shouldn't have, being like, oh, maybe we can't do this, they might know. So that's probably why our play looked quite sloppy. I mean, we did quite a lot of mess-ups during the uplink, especially on last round of S&D. So we just knew, play our game today, just everyone get a bit of energy, just stay focused and don't get too panicked, and it seemed to work.
Well, it's got to be nice getting the S&D win, as you lost, 3 round 11s up to this point. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Twins, because they've been great. We know they needed to have a good weekend here for you guys to have a chance to get, second place, first place. I want to talk a little about the passion of these guys, because I know they can be up and down. We see it in the camera shots. How much better is it when you're winning early with these guys? Does it help you, make it a little bit easier for you?
It definitely does. I mean, yesterday, they'll tell you themselves, we were a bit panicked when we lost first map to MindFreak. I think for some reason it was like we were in a final of like champs or something, and everyone's like, oh no, this is do or die. And it was like, yesterday we just thought, right, everyone just stay calm. Everyone said, right, we're not going to panic too much. And I mean, of course it has its downside, but when you're doing well, it's at its best.
Well, let's now look at it. You're sitting at second place. Obviously, you're going to be 2-1 here, but tomorrow's your biggest test. You have Evil Geniuses and Luminosity, which is technically your hardest day. You struggled with EG today. What's going to change, I guess, going into the final day? Going into Sunday, how are you guys going to come out top 2?
Yeah, our game against LG, I mean, we were up 190-40, I think, and it went, I mean, if it went to last hill, we lost, so if we can just sort our S&D out, we're going to round 11s, but we're getting there sloppily, so it's like, if we can sort the rounds out that we think we should be winning and stop winning the ones we shouldn't, then we might be able to take a respawn and then get it to our last map, and that's our best chance.
All right, buddy, the lone EU team here. Good luck tomorrow at placing in the top 2. That does it for Tommy and Fnatic. We'll toss it back to the desk.
Thank you, Maven. And Scraps, that man knows how to shake a hand. Not as good as Tommy, though. Well done, Tommy. Fnatic now 2-2. If you guys missed it yesterday, Scraps just totally walked off when Maven went to put the hand out. It was the highlight of my day.
Yeah, I
today, though,
I had no idea what you were talking about.
I felt like you guys needed a little context there. Maven's face is incredible. But Fnatic, all smiles after that win. They get the revenge, because MindFreak, first time around, 3-0s them after Fnatic comes in. Big win over EG. Today, Fnatic, they come, they get their revenge. Let's talk about how they got it done, starting with game number 1. It was the baseball hardpoint. Joe, kick things off. How did Hardpoint play out? Who were the star players?
It was pretty back and forth, and obviously the stars, I mean, just Wuskin playing extremely well with that NV4. Tommy sort of having a pretty big game. But really, there was no standout stars. Both teams were back and forth. I mean, again, just the early lead for Fnatic led them onto the victory. As you can see here, though, Fnatic will take a lead, but MindFreak, I mean, but Fnatic just clutched up in the end on those last few hard points.
It was like 146, 145 at one point, and at the very end, it came down to the baseball field. What was kind of the difference maker in the final minute?
I thought it would all come down to the payloads, and for a second, I did kind of panic for Fnatic and thought, have they just kind of thrown it away? But as you've seen on this kind of highlight reel, time and time again, it's 140 all, 200 all. It did come down to those final couple of kills, but it was the payloads that came into it. I think it was Scraps or Wuskins. I can't kind of say who it was. They stayed alive at the back of the baseball field when they should have died, and it just kind of drew some of the MindFreak players towards them. Then they got shot from the sides. That just staying alive for 2 or 3 seconds really paid dividends, and coming out there with a very close victory, but a much-needed one.
Yeah, Tommy's interview right there, they talk about not panicking. Scraps made that camo play, like you said right there. Yep. Not a panic play. Just do what you need to do. It's such a simple play in that sort of situation. The other thing that MindFreak didn't take care of was that Centurion in the hill just sat there shocking people for, what, 20, 30 seconds. And it's pretty hard to win a gunfight when you're getting shocked that everything's just happening on your screen. So down to the wire there, I feel like the payload used from Fnatic was just basically perfect and locked down that baseball.
Very tight game number 1. Search and destroy it. It's looking like MindFreak's just going to bounce back, and they're back in this series. They go up 3-0. Then all of a sudden, Joe, your prediction starts going to crap. Talk me through search and destroy here. What happened? What did Fnatic change up?
It's just like a broken record with MindFreak. So many post-plant positions. Again, they did a very good job early on. They're doing things differently. What I mean by that, MindFreak, they're going to bomb sites that are a bit, you know, just different. They're not always hitting that lower bomb site. They hit the bridge, they hit that A bomb, and they were doing a very good job. And then as the game goes on, it just seems they don't switch things up. Fnatic able to clutch up a few times, use their payloads well, and that made all the difference. I just don't know what to say if you're MindFreak. There's just so many situations where if they're going to go back and watch these VODs and just like, why didn't we do this? Why did we do that?
Sorry, TP, this is one of those games where I saw the clock go to expiration so many rounds. I feel like this is probably the most out of any search and destroy we've seen. Why was it going the distance every single round in search and destroy?
I think these teams are so used to playing this retake style, but if you're going to take that retake style, you have to initiate something right away. These teams are waiting 10, 15 seconds to try and find all these gunfights, and it really leads to these late round situations that are basically impossible. You can have the best gun skill in the world, but if you can't get in a gunfight in the first place, it doesn't even matter. I feel like these guys just aren't, you know, adapting on the fly. And talking about MindFreak Search and Destroy, the previous series today versus EG, they won a couple of rounds, they got the early momentum, and then all of a sudden couldn't win a round after that. I feels like after the initial couple of rounds of strategy for Search for them, so they change something up and everything goes to crap.
5 straight after round number 4 for Fnatic as they bounce back in this game.
Yeah, it was exactly the same. They go 3-0 up against EG, lose 6-4. 3-0 up against Fnatic, lose 6-4. I mean, yeah, is it coincidence? You know, you could kind of say you're having a great start, but you've got to be consistent throughout. Or is it the opposing team just reading them and going, oh, well, they're playing it this way, you know, let's just track back, let's kind of just play them at their own game, if you like. But I think MindFreak needs to stay true to themselves when they're playing S&D, because they do have really good strats when it comes down to it. They're a team that actually practice it a lot more than most, and I think, you know, they play their own game, and they need to use those streaks and their payloads just a little bit better, I think.
Well, that's the thing. You are up 3-0 in both those teams. You're going to get your payloads first, right? You have the advantage. Like, there should be no reason they should be choking these leads. They have to get a few more rounds. And again, it just seems like the momentum shifts. I don't know if they're not changing things up or they're just giving rounds away, but Fnatic, EG, they were able to catch on very quickly. MindFreak, they have to keep switching.
I was a little bit surprised to see MindFreak as that game went on, just losing, it seemed like panic gunfights at times. They just seemed to fall apart. One guy I want to highlight, though, is Fida. Fida was a star player on day 1. He's back day 2. He leads the squad in game number 1. We take a look at some of the highlights from game 3 now, and I have to ask you, what is the problem right now for this MindFreak squad? You're 1-3, you have 2 more games, and you're not out of the running. You win 1 more, and you're right up there with Fnatic fighting for 2nd place again.
It's really tough to put my finger on it, to be honest. Going back to this series yesterday, I think Fnatic, I would just call them the better Uplink team in specific overall, and they were just making uncharacteristic mistakes, a lot of passes that were unnecessary. So it's tough to figure out what MindFreak's doing wrong. It seems like the slang seems to be somewhat consistent, but Fnatic just kept getting into the top windows on either side, and when you have control of that first on a map like Throwback on Uplink, it's almost impossible to clear out the drone. The kills they were getting on the MindFreak side just didn't really matter much.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just look at the scoreboard. Like, MindFreak, they're in this game slaying-wise, and they have been every single game that we've watched, but again, their offense on Uplinks has just been abysmal. They get those mid-map kills, and then it just seems they push that drone towards the base, and all 4 of them go down. Again, Fnatic, they're a team where if they get in the opposing team's base, they're able to hit those 1-pointers, and it leads to more. It just seems like MindFreak, they win that initial battle for mid-map control and drone control, and then they just lose all the rest of them.
That's the third uplink in a row we've seen one team dominate the first side. You know, both on Frost, now going into Throwback itself. One team has not conceded, you know, on side, and that second side you can play it a little bit more to your advantage. You know, you can overextend a little bit more, or you know, just take your time, whatever. You're in control of that game, and I think the one thing that I will say, Buzzo again, you know, starting off really slow on that, they gave away that lead, and when you're chasing an uplink, it's one of those game modes it's so hard to get back into. Sometimes you need to relay or do something special, because if you're down, you're giving them payloads, you're giving them score streaks, you're giving them hype, and that's what Fnatic had. I think the biggest impact was the hype on there, the Twins getting excited, but for once it was actually Tommy, and it's good to hear him shouting again.
Now, at the very end of today, we're going to update everybody on where exactly the teams are landing inside the group, but also their map count, because that's what it could all come down to tomorrow. I feel like Fnatic's 3-0 over MindFreak was bigger than they even know. I think that is going to narrow the gap if all the teams end with the same match count overall. That map, though, it's done, it's dusted, the match is in the books, and now we have one more left for you today. Coming up next, we're going to see Evil Genius versus Luminosity. EG, if they could pull off the upset here, they have a massive opportunity of locking up that second place finish here in our group red. But before we get to that, we got to cover our score streaks. On MLG.TV, we have the enhanced viewer experience, and we have, of course, been quizzing you guys. Every single match, we're throwing up some questions. And our first question for the series, Fnatic going up against MindFreak, was, what will the score difference be in game number 1? Well, 39% of you guys got it right. The majority was finally wrong. It was less than 50 points. That was 20. Let's go into question number 2. Will game 2 go past the 9th round? 76% of you guys are smart out there. Well done. A was the correct answer. And question 3, which team will lead the game at halftime? Well, once again, you felt it coming. It was MindFreak 4-0 at the half, as Momo pointed out. Strong start, strong finish. That was the difference maker in Uplink. 3 series are done, and here is a look at our leaderboard in the score streaks. We got Zebster staying up top. Shout out to Zeb. He was at the top of the leaderboard on day number 1. Cheese Boys coming in hot at number 9. We got Leroy Gibbs, Chance NA. Is that Chance the caster?
It's probably him, yeah.
Might as well be.
Yeah, he's probably like, yeah, he's a smart guy.
We love you, Thomas Ashworth III. There we go. That is it for our score streak leaderboard. If you want to play along, go to MLG.TV, the enhanced viewer experience. We got it all. Stats on the players, rosters, and more. Only on MLG.TV. Don't go anywhere. The Call of Duty World League presented by PlayStation 4 continues. This is stage 2 of the GPL as we look to find our first 2 teams that'll lock in their spot in the $500,000 playoffs here for stage 2.